Onto a road trip through Atlanta and Florida. Our Chrysler Jeep starters: Todd Ritchie, the right-hander, a .500 pitcher. Same for Rick Ankiel. The Cardinal left-hander is 7-7 with an ERA of just over 4. That is the Chrysler and Jeep pitching matchup.
Ankiel uses.
We'll look at the batting order before we run through what Rick Ankiel throws. The Southwest Airlines order for the Pirates: Adrian Brown is in center, Enrique Wilson at second, Brian Giles is in left field with Kevin Young at first, Aramis Ramirez is at third, Alex Ramirez, a pinch hit home run last night, he is batting sixth and right, Pat Mears the shortstop, Keith Osick catching, and Todd Ritchie pitching. And there it is, the highly anticipated scouting report.
Well, he must use the fastball to control counts, and he really has not been doing that. He can't be a one-pitch pitcher. He must be more effective with his off-speed pitches. Most hitters can go up there looking nothing but the fastball, and he's got to get some quick outs so he doesn't go so deep into games in his pitch count without getting very few innings pitched.
That has been the main problem with Rick Ankiel. You know, there was a lot made a while back about his agent Scott Boras saying, well, we don't want him to throw over 100 pitches per start. Well, he has been approaching the 100 pitch mark right around the 5th inning here. So it's always a question of, do you want him to hang in long enough to get a win? And the wins really haven't been there this season for Anfield. He's 7-7, and as we mentioned, only one win in his last 10 starts, coming off a shaky outing here against Philadelphia. The 0-1 to Adrian Brown is down and in, a ball and a strike. So if you don't want him to go more than 100, 105 pitches, the way he's been pitching with long counts, a lot of pitches in the early innings, you're looking at 5+ innings at the most. A base hit to start the night for the Pirates. Adrian Brown is on, and for Pittsburgh, it's nothing new. He's been doing that a lot. Around the horn for the Cardinals, Will Clark is at first base. He's joined on the infield by Fernando Vina. Already talked a lot about him. He's at second. Over at third, Fernando Tatis. At short, it is Edgar Renteria. In the outfield from left to right, Ray Langford back in the lineup tonight. He's in left. In center, Jim Edmonds. And the Cardinals have a trio of left-handed hitting outfielders with J.D. Drew in right. Carlos Hernandez does the catching tonight, and Ankiel's on the hill. This is down and in with ball one.
Rick is making his 24th start, 25 appearances, 500 record, ERA over 4. Most of the time it's been in the threes. So those 74 walks are amongst league leaders. 140 strikeouts. That's quite an accomplishment. Second best in innings pitched through 9 innings in the National League.
Changeup is no good, and the count 2-0. Boy, when Rick misses, these days when he misses to the point where he doesn't even give the hitter a chance to swing at a bad pitch.
Well, Joe, you know, hitters are foolish not to go up there looking for the fastball. He can't control that changeup. He hasn't been able to master the curveball, you know, consistently enough for hitters to just forget about it. And early in the count, they can just sit on the fastball.
Enrique Wilson, the number 2 hitter tonight. He's at second base. We've seen him at second and at short in this series. He bats with Adrian Brown at first and nobody out. 3-1. See what Enrique Wilson does with a 3-1 pitch. On deck is their biggest threat, Brian Giles. Jason Kendall has the night off. Clark will try for the out at second. They get one and can't get them both, although a good effort. 3-6 on the force out. No double play, but it's a runner at first, 1 away. Our Hyundai key matchup. Last night it was Giles and Renteria. Tonight it's Giles and Vina. Last 9 games, Giles, who's coming off Player of the Week honors, hitting .500 with 6 home runs and 14 RBIs. Compared to Fernando Vina with his 14-game hitting streak. During that streak, hitting .362. Vina on the right side of the infield with his left-handed batter Giles up. And a ball up and away from Ankiel. This
guy's got an electric bat. 2 consecutive years where the home runs over 30, 100 RBIs, emerging as one of the best in the National League.
1 ball, 1 strike. Well, each night it's been a 2-run homer for Giles on Monday against Garrett Stevenson. Similar result on this swing. Similar sound as well, with a line drive into the seats above the wall and right. A pair of 2-run homers in this series. Runner goes on a hit and run, and Giles fouls it back. Strike 2.
Sometimes you can see or figure out whether a hit and run or a straight steal. Hit and run, you would look in. He reacted after the foul ball. That was the infielders gave him that reaction when he looked in. So you have to believe the straight steal was on.
Runner goes again. Bad pitch. The throw by Hernandez is good. 2 out. What a fantastic athletic play on each end. A terrible pitch, and Hernandez hung with it through sidearm, and Rennereal bailed him out on the other end.
Hernandez has been a little disappointing. Look at the footwork. Look how he throws his feet out and then throws sidearm. He's had a lot of balls sail, but this one was there at second base. He can't be really happy with the fundamentals, but happy with the outcome. And Wilson had to be running in his tracks right there to be thrown out on that one.
Well, in Hernandez's defense, he was a little at the mercy of that pitch.
Yeah, but we've seen him throw like that with right-handed batters and have some errant throws. But there's, like you said, and Hernandez has really had trouble catching Ankiel.
Well, Ankiel issues his first walk of the night, and not a very sharp start for him. He's allowed a hit. Then he fell behind Enrique Wilson 3-1, but Wilson bounced into that force out at second, then Wilson out stealing. Turns into a big play after that wild delivery on ball 4. And now Kevin Young. Strike 1.
One thing to me, Joe, is at least he didn't let Giles beat him. We have had a tendency to let big power hitters and guys that have been signaled out and saying, don't let this guy beat us, have beaten the team several times. Griffey, Bonds.
There's a good changeup, and the count 0-2. Kevin Young has hit 17 home runs, driven in 74, and has averaged .265 so far. 1 out of 9 in this series. He's jammed, and that'll end the inning. Vina back to get it, and the Pirates get a hit, a walk, lose a man on the bases. And they are scoreless through the first half inning. Hernandez catches Enrique Wilson during the inning. Here in St. Louis, the Pirates got a hit. They stranded a runner. The Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the Cardinals has Vina leading off at second base. J.D. Drew bats second and right. Jim Edmonds hitting third and center. Will Clark cleans up. Then Tatis, Langford, Renteria. Carlos Hernandez does the catching, and Rick Ankiel, as we all know, a good hitting pitcher, batting ninth. There's Todd Ritchie, the right-hander, and he's 6-6.
Works fast, pitches inside, must use his sinker to get ahead, and has a tendency to make bad pitches when he's behind. Very disappointing season for him. 6-6 last year, a 15-game winner.
So Ritchie gets ready to work to Vina, who's trying to extend his hitting streak to 15 games, and Vina bring a little shovel with him as he is digging at the dirt to get that back foot anchored. Ritchie's first offering of the night is fouled out of play, and that's the way we start the bottom of the first. There are the numbers for Vina. You can add to those numbers. Hit by pitch. It's happened 22 times this season to lead the league. The 0-1. Strike 2. Todd Ritchie is coming off the start at Cincinnati, and it was a good one. 3 runs on 5 hits in 7 1/3 innings in a victory at Cincinnati. 1-0 this month. A decent ERA, 1 win, another no decision. The 0-2 to Vina. Ball and 2 strikes against the Cardinals. Cardinals beat him back in Pittsburgh on the 21st of May. 7-5 the final. Andy Bennis got the win that day. The 1-2.
His career mark is 1-1. He defeated Donovan Osborne back on May the 6th, 99.
Just when I finally get that name out of my mind.
We haven't talked about Donovan all year. I ran into somebody that said that Donovan had quite a few and fairly lucrative offers this spring, but he decided to take the year off. Come back and play next year.
Heard of semester at sea. He's taking semester at space. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Vina fouls it away, and he is trying to battle his way on here against Ritchie. Last year's opening day starter was Donovan Osborne, just to again underline the changes that have been made from a year ago. And that's the old story with Donovan. He always had great stuff, but just could never put it together. 1-2 on Vina. Drew will follow, and then Edmonds. If you like left-handed batters, Todd Ritchie, you're going to get plenty here tonight. That's going to be a tester for Mears. Good range to his left. Perfect throw. One away. Vina's gone. We go around the horn for the Pirates. First base, Kevin Young. He made the final out in the top of this first. Second base, Enrique Wilson. Over at third base is Aramis Ramirez. At short, it's Pat Mears, former Minnesota Twin. On the outfield is Brian Giles, their best player in left. Adrian Brown, who's one of their hottest players in center. And Alex Ramirez, who has been dangerous in this series in right. Drew takes the ball low. Doing the catching is Keith Osick. He's usually good for a crushing blow against the Cardinals at some point during a series. 2-0 now from Todd Ritchie. Am I wrong, or does Osick always seem to come up with some big hit?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, earlier this year he gave up some big hits as he had to pitch.
Yesterday, in the major leagues, Derek Bell pitched for the Mets in that 16-1 loss to San Diego, and Brent Mayne, the catcher for the Rockies, pitched and got the win, beat the Braves. That's on the inside corner, 2-2.
Sky reports say he'll pitch inside. He's got a real good sinking fastball, a lot of sliders.
Rip, still 2-2.
Former #1 draft pick of the Minnesota Twins is Ritchie.
Edmonds will follow, another 2-2 to Drew. JD's been waiting on pitches a little better here in the last few weeks than he was earlier in the season. Still learning his second full year in the big leagues. Heck, really his first full year in the big leagues. Last year he was down at the minor league level for part of the year. 2-2. Went with the heat and got it up there above 90 for his first strikeout of the night. Pretty good pitch and a little zip from Todd Ritchie.
Well, traditionally a lot of your left-handed batters are low ball hitters, and that had a little movement on it. Great location outside and looked like a little tailing action.
Here's Edmonds hitting .308. 2 out of 6 in this series. Has a home run in this series. A 3-run shot 2 nights ago, and he takes the ball.
Talking about a lot of traditionally left-hand hitters or low ball hitters. Here's an exception.
That's pretty well hit into right center field. Is it enough? Adrian Brown back, and the Cardinals are on top, 1-0. Edmonds goes deep with number 34.
Sky report says he made bad pitches when he's behind the count. It was just a 1-0 pitch, but there you saw he got the ball up a little bit in the inner half of the plate. That's the 21st home run allowed by Ritchie, and a new career high in home runs by Edmonds.
Into left center off the bat of Clark, and one pitch after the home run by Edmonds. Clark lines out to left center. Edmonds goes deep. High, majestic drive into right center, and with that, the Cards are up by 1. Well, kids, if you're between the ages of 8 and 14, come visit the Sports Authority in your area between August 1st and August 27th. There you can enter to win a chance to take a Cardinal player back to school with you. The winner will also receive 4 sweet tickets to a Cardinal game, on-field activities, and great Cardinal souvenirs. Find the Sports Authority nearest you. Call 1-888-LOOK-4-TSA. What am I missing? What are they cheering for? They're cheering for Edmonds, who is homered here tonight. Ball drops low to Ramirez. Ramirez, and Mears, the 3 hitters. Ramos, Alex, and Pat.
Otherwise, a good law firm.
That's right. 2 balls, no strikes. Hits are even at 1 apiece. Cardinals made their hit count for a run. Swinging on 2-0. It's 2-1. Cardinals tonight are playing their 126th game of the year. So far this season here at home, the Cardinals are 11 games over 500. 2 games over on the road, in case you're wondering. There's good heat. The count 2-2.
So we got guys already figuring out the magic number 31. Boy, you go crazy.
I already know the magic number. And it's 31.
That's for top, right?
No. The magic number for this Cardinal team is 25. McGuire.
Oh.
It's the only number that you should even care about right now. The magic number is a little ridiculous to think of at this point. Ground ball 2/3. Tatis guides it over to first, and Ramirez is gone. What have the Cardinals done at home as opposed to on the road? Average is better here at home. Runs per game slightly better. Home runs per game about even. The ERA is better here at home, and the record is better. But for the most part, rather consistent both here at Busch and away from St. Louis. The Cardinals will have their fair share of games away from St. Louis coming up here. Now this is going to be a tester of a road trip with 4 in Atlanta and then 3 in Florida. And the Cardinals found out the last time the Marlins were here how dangerous they can be, and everybody knows how dangerous the Braves can be.
Well, and don't forget, then you come home and play 3 against New York and 4 against Montreal. So it's going to be a pretty telling. You know, the club's going to have to win 50% of those games, and they're going to be tough games where you could lose a lot more.
1 ball, 1 strike on Alex Ramirez, and diving stop by Tatis, but it pops out of his glove. Should be a hit. It is. Second of the night for the Pirates.
Tatis still not moving very well and not as mobile. He gets to this ball and you think that, okay, he can scramble and get up, and then somehow it just shoots out. He hits it with his knee. Hits the glove with his left knee and just ejects the ball.
So that'll bring in Mears, 1 on, 1 out. Outfield playing Pat to hit the other way. Cardinals were interested in Mears prior to last season, and instead of obtaining Mears, they signed Carlos Baerga, who showed up to camp slightly overweight.
Mears signed I believe a 3-year, $9 million contract with the Pirates.
0-2 on Mears.
There's a little stability to this young Pirate ball club. And I think that's Enrique Wilson has been playing short and second tonight, try to figure out what his best position is.
1-2 on Mears as he goes up and after one. Home plate umpire tonight is Matt Hollowell. He's in charge of the balls and strikes.
I met Matt today. I was down in the umpire's room and talking with Wally Bell and Mark Hirschbeck, the veterans of this staff.
What'd you think of him?
He's very young.
Mears is gone, and that's out number 2 and the first strikeout for Rick Ankiel. What's wrong with young?
Young?
What's wrong with
the opposite of Al.
Here's Keith Osick. You're not an old man. You're not old
body.
No.
Young at heart. Young at heart.
1 on, 2 out. Osick off the end of the bat into right for Drew. That should do it for the Pirates in the second. It does. And the pitcher Ritchie will lead it off for Pittsburgh in the third. A hit, another runner left. Tatis, Langford, Renteria coming up for the Cards, who lead by 1. Cardinal history, August 23rd, 1985. Joaquin Andujar became baseball's first 20-game winner of 1985. That is, beating Atlanta 6-2 for the Cardinals. Andujar was the first National League pitcher to post consecutive 20-win seasons since Joe Niekro, 79 and 80.
John Tudor became a 20-game winner later on that season, 85.
Tatis leads it off. Second inning for the Cardinals, and a breaking ball stays hot. See if Tatis can get it going. His average has fallen to 283. Over but low, 3-0.
Let's see if Todd Ritchie doesn't just groove one. He's got a real good slider and a sinking fastball, but when you fall behind the count, high sinkers go a long way.
Strike to make it 3-1.
Yeah, let's see Tatis's hot zone. I'd like to see that. Right on cue. Oh. Up and away, 343.
Into center, that should be easily handled by Adrian Brown. And Tatis is the first out here in the second.
Show the location of this pitch, and also we should show our hot zone. I think he should have crushed that ball. Got underneath it though.
Well, this team is talking about the Cardinals. It's been a while since everybody has been hot. This team has been A, healthy, or B, even when not healthy, hitting on all 8 spots in this lineup. And you have to hope that down the stretch here, Tatis finds that stroke again. And Langford finds it, period, because he really hasn't had a good stretch this season. He's had some real rough patches, but with some sporadic hitting here and there, his average still only 242, and he's driven in 50 runs. 2-1.
Well, that's why I think that when you look for help in September, let's hope it's Ray Langford with a hot month. Let's hope that Tatis just kind of goes back and tries to just make solid contact and try and catch up on home runs.
Langford couldn't catch up to that. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's always been able to throw the ball by Ray up in the zone. And what he hasn't been hitting is the breaking ball down with the consistency as he has in previous years.
Will pop up left side for Giles. Renteria, who is one of the few hot Cardinals in this lineup. Renteria hitting .279, 14 home runs, 58 RBIs, and in this series 3 out of 8.
By the time we come off this next road trip, Renteria will have a new career high in home runs and RBIs.
1 ball, 1 strike.
It's already set the career high in RBIs. He'll break the Cardinals franchise record for home runs for a shortstop. He only trails Solly Humus's 15 by 1.
Wouldn't go after that. 2 balls and a strike. Renteria, the 3rd hitter of this inning, and Ritchie has been behind all 3 hitters. They took care of Tatis, took care of Langford, and now the 2-1 to Renteria. 2-2. Talked about it last night. The Cardinals will miss Greg Maddux in the upcoming 4-game set in Atlanta. He was a winner today for the Braves in Colorado, 5-2 over the Rockies. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and Renteria hits one on a line to center. Adrian Brown back to get it, and the Cards go in order. That's the first time either side has been retired. 1, 2, 3 into the 3rd. Pirates bat down by 1. Series are out tonight. Jen and Bob Ramsey. Bob is going after a burger, and we go after the Regional Sports Report, and you should too. Tonight at 11, 30 minutes of nightly sports news completely dedicated to the home teams throughout the Midwest. Cards and Braves, a series preview, Reds highlights, and the Rams are off to Dallas. They'll take on the Cowboys tomorrow night, and then shut it down and wait for the season opener on a Monday night. Here's Ritchie, the Pittsburgh pitcher, and he takes the ball up and away. Todd Ritchie is 10 out of 47. He's 11 out of 48. And he has the 3rd hit of the night for the Pirates.
Top corner, and Tatis has been challenged a couple times. This is a off-speed pitch, it looked like, and just rifled right by Tatis to his left. Playing in a little bit. Reactionary position.
There's Adrian Brown, who singled his first time up. Bounced one through the right side. He takes on Ankiel, and in this series is 4 out of 9. He has been really playing well for these Pirates. Trying to go to right, it looked like, and that's out of play. 11 out of 26 in his last 6 games with a home run.
And then batting .368 in his last 14 games. Rick has already committed a couple balks this year. He's very close to another one by not coming to a discernible stop.
That drives Adrian Brown off the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cincinnati takes an early lead at home over Philadelphia. Reds blowing a 4-run lead last night, losing 5-4 to Philly.
Britt Reams will get the ball on Friday night against 16-game winner Tom Glavine in Atlanta.
2 balls and a strike from Ankiel.
That matchup is part of our What's on Tap.
Including baseball Thursday tomorrow night, which will be the nationally televised game, Fox Sports Net, with the Cards and the Braves. First of a 4-game series and a 7-game trip. 2 balls and a strike on Adrian Brown. Now 3-1.
He has trouble when he gets into the stretch.
Third base coach through the signs as Adrian Brown gets back in. On deck is Enrique Wilson, then Brian Giles. You always have to be aware of where he is. The runner doesn't go, and it's a full count now on Adrian Brown. And with a pitcher over at first, they'll probably keep it that way with regard to the runner not going.
They had some changes of their coaching staff.
Newman, from his days with the Seinfeld sitcom, can be found wearing number 46 for the Pirates. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and a walk, a hit, a walk, and trouble. That starts with T and that rhymes with many letters, including B. And here's Enrique Wilson. 2 on, nobody out, and Rick Ankiel has to reel it back into the strike zone. Wilson bounced into a force out when he took a 3-1 pitch and chopped it to Will Clark at first, back in the first. Hitting .210 with the Pirates overall for the season, hitting .287 at the start of the night. When you factor in the at-bats he had as a Cleveland Indian.
He's had his problems against the Pirates this year.
Breaking ball in for a strike. It's 0-1. Enrique Wilson showing bunt.
Rick 0 for 2 in his previous starts against the Bucks, including a 10-7 loss here on May the 2nd, 13-1 thumping at Pittsburgh on May the 19th when he failed to get out of the 3rd inning.
What am I missing here, Al? The Cardinals are expecting the bunt. Enrique Wilson showed bunt. Why would you bunt? To the third baseman, Tatis turns into a good bunt. Sacrifice good, 5-3, but you just handed Ankiel out. You open up first base with Giles coming up.
Yeah, it's
1-0 in the 3rd inning.
3rd inning, you got to believe that you're going to score more runs against Rick, and you just give an out.
And you certainly open up the option of
pitching around,
of walking Giles. I don't understand that, especially for a team that is toward the bottom of the division.
And this is where you really want to find out about Enrique Wilson. Find out what he does with a guy at first and second.
So now Giles with second and third, 1 out. And a ball up and away. Ritchie, the pitcher, a leadoff hit. A walk to Adrian Brown. The sacrifice bunt dropped down by Enrique Wilson. And now it's 2-0 on Brian Giles. One risk with putting Brian Giles on is you're asking Ankiel, who does not have a firm grasp of the strike zone. Very good control here lately to throw strikes to Kevin Young. He's on deck. Second and third, 1 out. Giles takes ball 3, 3-0.
So we had a situation last time Ankiel pitched. He masterfully pitched around Scott Rowland, or excuse me, it was an Eberthal, and then he proceeded to walk the next guy. So that's the problem with Rick in his control.
So there's the third walk on Ankiel's charge card here tonight. With the bases loaded, 1 out. Here's Kevin Young. Obviously the double play ball gets you out of trouble. Young is a candidate. He popped up to the second baseman his first time up, but he is at the plate with 74 RBIs and the bases loaded out in front of him. Good pitch on the inside corner, strike 1. Keep it right there. 93 miles per hour on the radar gun. 2 slams for Kevin Young. That breaking ball in the dirt, a ball and a strike. We're only in the 3rd, but this could certainly give us a little sneak preview as to what's to come here tonight. Golden scoring opportunity for the Pirates. Ankiel falls behind, 2-1. Pop up on the infield. Infield fly rule in effect. Carlos Hernandez makes the play, 2 out. So the bases loaded, 2 out, and it takes a hit out of Ramirez. Pitch count up to 49 for Ankiel, and he has gone 2 2/3 innings.
Got to use that fastball to control the count. He can't be a one-pitch pitcher, meaning that he has to show the opposition that he could throw strikes with his off-speed pitches, and he's got to get some quick outs so he can keep that pitch total down.
Bases loaded, 2 out. Ramirez takes a strike on the inside corner, and as he did with Kevin Young, a good pitch over the inner part, and now the home plate umpire, your new buddy Hollowell, looks into the Pirate dugout as he gets some heat from his left. No balls, 1 strike, bases loaded, 2 out. Off the end of the bat, strike 2, and Ankiel is a strike away from getting out of trouble.
You don't get a run across here. Even more of the case of the sacrifice bunt. You wonder why.
It's 0-2 on Ramirez. Bases loaded, 2 out. Cardinals trying to hang on to a lead. The 21-year-old comes set, and as he does, Ramirez is granted time.
Joe, I've said many times that I'm surprised clubs don't bunt more against Ankiel, but make him field it and see if he can throw it if he throw it away.
He's definitely got the yips.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 6 errors, and they've all been throwing it.
Let's see if Rick can get out of trouble. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Ramirez, who's driven in 35 up and down this season with the Pirate organization. Got him. High heat. Good work by Ankiel. And with the bases loaded, 1 out, Young popped up. And then this, too high, too hot to handle for Ramirez. A couple of former Blues greats, and now 2 guys who will work in this medium of television. Bernie Federko will take over the color analyst spot on television for the Blues this year, and Kelly Chase behind him with a black t-shirt will work on radio. The National Sports Report featuring news, opinions, and highlights from a fresh perspective tonight after the game. Bobby Bowden open mic, baseball on radio part 2, and Dan Marino tribute. There's Hernandez, and there's a foul. We're going to talk about Mel Allen and Red Barber tonight, tracing the national pastime and its coverage on radio. Red Barber, by the way, was the first to do a Major League game on television.
That'll just kind of lead into your Saturday afternoon telecast.
1 ball, 1 strike on Carlos Hernandez. We'll take Saturday's game and start in the first half inning as if it's 1939 at Wrigley Field with the Dodgers and the Cubs.
You're going to change my diaper, huh?
1 ball, 1 strike. 1-2. Hernandez hitting .256, 2 home runs, 29 RBIs, has a game-winning RBI in this homestand. Now he has a strikeout to start the bottom of the 3rd. Second strikeout for Richie, our Budweiser What's on Tap. Brought to you by Budweiser, brewed to deliver the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. We'll have all 4 from Atlanta. 2 on Fox Sports Net, the final 2 Saturday and Sunday on WB11. And then after taking the day off on Monday down in Florida, Tuesday and Wednesday against the Marlins. Here's Ankiel hitting .280. To the right of Wilson. Enrique takes care of it. 2 out. So Ankiel is gone, and the batter will be Fernando Vina. On the message board here at Busch Stadium, they put little highlights of what's been going on lately for these players. Vina will have something about his 14-game hitting streak or something along those lines. Until it's been a little thin here lately for Ankiel. His highlight was that he attended the 36th annual barbecue last week here in St. Louis. Coming up on 8 o'clock. Downtown St. Louis with 2 out, nobody on in the 3rd, and a 1-0 Cardinal lead. Good tailing fastball from Ritchie for strike one. Phillies have caught the Reds. They're 1-1 in the bottom of the fourth at Cincinnati. That'll be handled by Adrian Brown. Back to his right. Oh, no, it won't. The two came together and rolls to the wall. Vina wasn't running. He still turns on the Jets and ends up at third with 2 out. Fernando Vina became a spectator and was almost at a dead stop around first, but still had enough to turn it on and get to third with 2 out.
Well, they've been kind of moving Giles around in the outfield, and here he doesn't allow his center fielder to take charge. But Adrian Brown had missed the ball before the collision. But Giles is too close, and watch Vina. I think when you got a 14-game hitting streak and you hit the ball in the air like that, you think it's an out. But he has a good enough speed that it turned it on, and a wise decision to get over to third, and they misconnected with the relay, and so he was safe.
That's a triple.
Oh, man.
That's ridiculous. They ruled that a triple.
Oh, so that gives him a career-high hitting streak. That's sad.
Runner at third, 2 out. Through with a big rip. Strike 2. We're all for Fernando Vina. Can't find a more likable guy and a guy that we're a bigger fan of than Fernando Vina, but that's got to be an error.
Yeah, come on. You know, this is big leagues.
Runner at third, 2 out, and the 0-2 pitch to Drew. 1-2.
Watch it. Giles, now look at right here. He just flat out misses it, and then the collision. And they dropped the ball at third base, or he might have been out there. But
got him looking. Tailing delivery. Drew gave up on it, and the inning is over. So the Cardinals get the 2-out triple. Vina has a 15-game hitting streak, but the Cardinals strand their first of the night after 3. Cards up by 1.
Yes, Joe.
I just always wanted to do that. Anyway, we go to the 5th inning with the Cardinals up 3-0.
I wonder who is on our crew is moonlighting as a private investigator with this booth camera that is like it's like
I don't like
in
it.
The doorways.
I don't like it.
I don't like those guys in the truck being able to watch us every second.
Yeah, I'm putting up a mild protest. Do we have any cameras? Do we have any cameras that can show the people what we're talking about the size of this camera? Something that can easily slide under your hotel room door.
That's what I'm
down
saying.
in Atlanta. I guess that's what we use this thing for in between games. Surveillance. Goodbye to Todd Ritchie. He strikes out to start the top of the 5th inning. There it is. This is it right here. This thing right here. That's how big it is. And this is what it looks like. Looks great. I mean, if I were to put that under your door at the Hyatt down in Atlanta, what would I see on any given moment?
Well, I'm glad we're not staying at the Hyatt.
1 out, nobody on, and a pitch is high to Adrian Brown. I would never give out the right hotel.
Especially since you're not going to be there.
I'll be there on Saturday night, ready for Sunday's game.
Really?
A 1-0 to Adrian Brown is to the right of Vina and into center field. So after Ritchie struck out for the 4th strikeout of the night for Rick Ankiel, Adrian Brown is on base for the 3rd time tonight. One way to carry it.
Got something growing out of the top of his head. Antlers.
Honey, I don't know why my neck's killing me. Every time I come back from work, I can't stretch it out. 1 on, 1 out for Enrique Wilson. Way out in front of a changeup. Strike 1. And if they take another shot of us here in the booth with the lipstick camera, I promise to talk. I just couldn't resist just staring blankly into the camera.
Glad we got our backdrop all fixed too.
Our bedspread. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's actually Dan McLaughlin's bedspread that we're sitting in front of here in the booth. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 on, 1 out.
I thought it was his sheets.
And Keel trying to get Enrique Wilson. There's a good pitch over the outside corner. And Wilson, who's 0 for 1 with a sacrifice, is in the hole 1 and 2. We're creating a monster. Something bad is happening here because now we're on camera all the time.
I know you asked for it.
And there it is. There is, there's our people behind us.
People behind us. Should we make fun of them like we do the people that sit behind home plate and talk on their cell phones?
Those people behind us are directly responsible.
Oh, they're sponsors, huh?
Helping to put Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net. Meanwhile, I had the pleasure, I'll have you know, of exiting the stadium last night about 25 minutes after the game ended, right behind the guy who was wearing the Gene Simmons mask.
And
it was a thrill of a lifetime.
Did you get his autograph?
No. 1 on, 1 out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Whoa! It might go over the backstop. It hit that billboard behind Hernandez and then kicked up and went to the top of that screen that protects the fans behind home plate.
That's his 11th wild pitch of the season. And I'd say he didn't really pull down on this breaking ball. Kind of got away from it.
So down to second is Adrian Brown with 1 out. Takes the double play out of order. Ryan Giles, their big power threat, waits on deck. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And that should be out number 2. Drew hardly had to move. Brown won't move off second, 2 away. And now in this situation now, a runner at second, 2 out, first base open, but a 3-run lead. I think for the most part you have to go after Brian Giles. Put him on, he bring the tying run up and see what Ankiel can do against Giles. So far he's pitched around him twice. The number's far better for Ankiel at home as opposed to on the road. And a strike on the outside part. I can tell you disagree with me.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, especially the fact that lefty against lefty. The fact that Ankiel was only allowed 1 home run to a left-handed batter in his career. But you sit there and you say, I'm going to make quality pitches. The one thing, Joe, is he has really not learned or established one pitch that he can always go to and rely on to get strikes.
Ooh, a breaking ball made Giles look bad. Strike 2.
He's got a great breaking ball, but it's inconsistent to where many times you just sit there and you look fastball. If he can get 1, but can he throw 3 of them? Or in this case, he got ahead with a fastball. Can he throw 1 more to freeze a hitter?
Late on the fastball. I think, Alan, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think the plan is, although nobody around here wants to go on record and talk about the postseason, but you have to believe that Ankiel goes to the bullpen.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
And if that's the case, then I think you're looking at a major weapon in the late innings against that 1 or 2 nasty left-handed batters. As you can see what he does to one of the best in the league. He strikes out Giles, gets his 5th of the night, and we're halfway through it. Ankiel working well. The Cardinals have backed him with 3 runs, and they're up 3-zip. Result to the first pitch of the bottom of the 5th is a pop fly to left, and Giles comes from his position to make the catch, and Ankiel 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 5th inning as he flies to left. There's the score, 3-0. Cards up, and here's a look at that first pitch from Ritchie and the result.
An off-speed pitch got underneath it. Mears kind of really struggling backpedaling, and then he got called off by his left fielder, and Giles makes the play.
So 1 away, and back to the top of the order, Vina. Whiffy goes on to have a 57-game hitting streak to break Joe DiMaggio's record. He doesn't get another hit here tonight. He You can look back to that third inning triple, a ball that dropped into left center between Adrian Brown and Brian Giles for what should have been an error, but was ruled a triple. And as it was, Richie got around it, so no major damage done. 1 ball, no strikes. Giles will handle this one. Here in the 5th inning, 2 up, 2 down. And we will let you know that for joining us in our pregame show and for the beginning portion of our game tonight telecast, the guests, including Fernando Vina at Cardinal Baseball, receive a gift certificate to Chevy's Fresh Mex. Stop by one of the 7 locations where the food's made fresh every day. Here's Drew with 2 out, nobody on, 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. And ball from Richie. Young, Ramirez, and Ramirez, Ramos, and then Alex for the Pirates in the 6th inning. Those will be the 3 hitters for Ankiel as Drew gets one off the end of the bat, drops it into center for a 2-out hit. Remember our contest and our legends of the game. Tonight's legend is John Tudor. Visit foxsports.com/Midwest. Click on John Tudor. Do that before 10 a.m. tomorrow, and you could be a winner to join us here in the booth at the end of the season.
John Tudor is going to be at the Legends Camp down in Jupiter, Florida. This coming February 7th through the 11th. Vince Coleman is signed up.
Vince will be taking major time out of his golf schedule to join you down in Florida.
We told him his golf course on the complex grounds.
1 ball, no strikes, 1 on, 2 out. Edmonds is homered and flied to center. He's hit 34, career high. He's driven in 85. And he takes ball 2. With a 2-out hit, held on by Young. So a big hole on the right side of the infield, and strike 1 on Edmonds. We always classify McGuire as a low ball hitter. We always classify Langford as a low ball hitter. Where does Edmonds fall in?
Well, he told me today that he at least considers himself to be a high ball hitter. That there's a kind of a fine line. High in the strike zone and high out of the strike zone. In the strike zone is the hitters, out of the strike zone is the pitcher.
Check on Drew. Drew hasn't done a ton of running this season. He's stolen 9 bases. You would think, Al, that that'll be a department that he'll get more comfortable with as the years go on, and he'll end up being at least a 20 stolen base guy. He's as fast as anybody we see.
It's just something that, you have to be aggressive.
Edmonds pops it up. Drew is on the run, and he'll continue to run as Adrian Brown waits for it, squeezes it. The Cardinals are finished in the 5th. We go to the 6th inning here in St. Louis. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Pirates down by 3. Portion of Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Steak and Shake, by Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete, and by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. You can depend on Dobbs. Muggy night down below at Busch Stadium, with this game progressing to the 6th inning and Rick Ankiel back to the hill. There's a little action now in the Cardinal bullpen. And Ramirez make it Young takes a pitch up that Hernandez doesn't even get a glove on. Talk about Ankiel winning only once in his last 10 starts. And that victory came at Houston, a 12-1 victory on the 21st of July.
That was his first start after turning 21.
So it's been a month and 2 days. And he's 3-0 on Kevin Young. And he's 4-0 on Kevin Young. That means it's a walk. Fourth handed out by Ankiel, and that could start trouble. Baseball Thursday, the Cardinals and the Braves. Jim Edmonds and these Cardinals take on Atlanta, and quite possibly a playoff preview. That's tomorrow at 6:30 on Fox Sports Net.
So if the playoffs were to begin today, the Cardinals would play the Atlanta Braves. They have the best record. Cardinals couldn't play the wild card team because it's in the same division, so the Cardinals were the least wins of the 3 division champions would match up against the best team.
But that could change easily. They have only 2 fewer wins than San Francisco. One on, nobody out. That's 0-2 on Ramirez. In other words, a wild card winner, if the wild card comes out of the East, and right now that would be the case with New York coming out of the East as the wild card, they can't play the NL East winner. Typically the division winner with the best record would play the wild card, but not if they're in the same division. Big rip by Ramirez. So then the winner of the East, and again we go back to Atlanta because they have the best record in the National League, would play, of the 2 other division winners, the team with the worst record. That would be the Cardinals.
I guess we would prefer to play either the Giants or the Arizona rather than the Mets or even Atlanta.
I think the Mets are as dangerous a team as there is heading for that tournament in October.
Sure they are. A good ball club.
I think they have a better bullpen than Atlanta. I think their rotation can match up. Ramirez is reaching for it, and that's for the right side of the infield, and Pena, 1 on, 1 out.
There's something to be said, though, for Atlanta being postseason so many times.
Absolutely.
They're pretty comfortable with it.
And not only that, they have dominated play against the New York Mets for the last couple of years, and booted them out of the NLCS last year in 6 games. So you're right. I mean, you go in and you have to favor Atlanta because of history, but I think you look at these teams and the way they're made up. That Met club is dangerous. 1 on, 1 out, and Alex Ramirez pops it up.
Good pitch.
In on the hands, and Pena back to get it. 2 out. One on, 2 out for Pat Mears. Ankiel trying to pitch around a leadoff walk. Cards up 3-zip. They've out hit the Pirates 6-4. 90 pitches on the night. The 90th is a strike to Mears.
I was going to say, if you could get through 6 innings at about 90 pitches, you're doing the job, and maybe stretch out to a 7th.
Change up, and they could care less about Young. It's 0-2 on Mears. Young couldn't have picked a better pitch. An 0-1 changeup.
2 outs, he can steal 3rd as long as you get the batter. You can't score.
0-2 on Mears. They're 1-1 in the top of the 7th, in case you're wondering, at Cincinnati, with the Phillies and Reds tied. The rubber game of that series. 1-2 now on Mears, who's driven in 39. And believe it or not, has hit 10 home runs.
He's been pretty effective at pitching on both sides of the plate tonight.
A 1-2. Jammed him, and see if Tatis can finish off the inning. Good play, and the inning is over. So Ankiel and the Cardinals are through 6 on the top half of the scoreboard. Bottom of the 6th rolls in. Heart of the order for the Cards, and they lead by 3. It is still a 3-0 Cardinal lead. Bottom of the 6th inning rolls in. Winchester Bowl. Winchester, Illinois. The Bowlers are with us. Maybe they'll be a part of the 11 p.m. Regional Sports Report. 30 minutes of nightly sports news completely dedicated to the home teams throughout the Midwest. Cards and Braves, a series preview. Reds highlights. The Rams are off to Dallas for their game tomorrow night. The 11 p.m. Regional Sports Report, Midwest edition. Tonight only on Fox Sports Net. Here is Will Clark. There is ball one. Clark is 1 out of 2 with a 1-out double his last time up. He scored on a double by Tatis, who scored on a triple by Ray Langford. Up the middle, base hit. Clark's 2 out of 3. See if the Cardinals can turn that into a run. Bring in Tatis, who's 1 out of 2, as was Clark before that hit. For the 4th consecutive year, the Cardinal players and coaches will take their Rawlings jerseys off their backs. The Cardinal Care and the Muscular Dystrophy Association, immediately following the game on Labor Day, Monday, September 4th, Cardinals taking on Montreal. Players and coaches will autograph their jerseys and give them to some lucky fans. Well, the Cardinal ticket office at 421-2400. For that Labor Day game. Here's a pitch over but low. Ball 1 to Tatis.
I was over at the Rawlings offices today and saying hello to some people, but Ted Sizemore pointed out that home runs are down since the All-Star break.
It's because they had all the
drained them,
members of baseball's hierarchy down there checking out their operation. If anything points to a loaded ball and a conspiracy, it's that. After they leave, you're supposed to keep going the way it is. You're not supposed to change the way the ball's made now.
Well, Rawlings has not changed the process since 1931.
Yeah.
I got the inside scoop.
I did too.
I saw the formula for flubber, you know.
3 balls, no strikes. But Ted, that is the biggest argument that the balls were loaded. So 3-0 to Tatis is a strike. We kid Ted from afar because he's a good man.
He's a good man. Does a great job. Great job.
3 balls and a strike. Clark at first, nobody out. Tatis will wail away if he likes it. Told you, half swing, 3-2.
Former Cardinal, and what a great job Ted Sizemore did setting up and allowing Lou Brock to steal all those bases, then pushing him over to third base where our buddy Ted Simmons could drive him in. But Ted is the senior vice president, worldwide baseball affairs for Rawlings. Pretty good title, isn't it?
Yes. Clark is running as Tatis pops it up. That might stay in play. Can anybody get there? It's a foul ball, and nobody can. Tatis's last time up followed Will Clark's double with this down into the left field corner.
Kind of a hanging breaking ball. He just hooked it down. Oh, that sounds crisp and clean.
Was 3-0. Now it's 3-2 with Langford on deck. A lefty and a righty getting loose for the Pirates in their bullpen.
Tatis missed 54 games. He has more RBIs than Langford and Drew. Close to Renteria.
Cardinals start the runner, and the Pirates still turn the double play. That was sensational. Pat Mears did a fantastic job. Wilson flipped it out of the glove, but Al Mears was just hanging there for Clark, and Will did everything he could.
Well, you know, he's a hard-nosed, clean ball player, and he'll go right after that man. What allowed them to make this play was that it was hit so sharply, and you know, it was hit so sharply that Mears could avoid the slide, collect himself, dodge his teammates, balance himself on one leg, and then throw out Tatis coming down the first baseline.
How about that stretch by Kevin Young on the other end? That hurt me just watching it.
There's 135th double play the Pirates have turned this year.
They've had all different combinations. The 0-1 to Langford. We've seen Benjamin out there. We've seen Warren Morris. We've seen Benjamin at each position. Now Enrique Wilson's been thrown in the mix. We've seen Luis Sojo out there, who's now back with the Yankees. Langford with a count of 1-2.
You can look at this Pirate ball club in a couple of years. If guys keep on maturing and they get a little pitching help, there will be a handful in the new stadium.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Langford. Back to the double play, and the play made by Enrique Wilson at the start of it.
The ball was hit very hard, and there he tries to backhand it, and then he's kind of on his knees. He couldn't reach in with his hand because he was trying to balance himself, and the only thing he tried to do is flip the ball out of his glove.
The 3-2 to Langford. Do it again. Langford has an RBI triple in this game, 51 driven in on the season, 18 home runs. All-time leader in career home runs here at this ballpark, and time called at the plate. Pirates in the 7th will have Osick, the number 8 hitter, and no doubt a pinch hitter for Todd Ritchie. 2-out walk.
First allowed by Ritchie tonight.
Because the pitcher is due up second in the top of the 7th, they'd love to get Todd Ritchie through this 6th and then just play it straight, lift him for a pinch hitter, and then dip into the bullpen as opposed to messing around with double switches. Or using a reliever for just 1 out. Edgar Renteria's 3 out of 10 in this series. He takes a ball. Renteria last night 2 out of 4. Tonight 0 for 2. He's flied to center, and he struck out with a runner at third, only 1 out back in the 4th. Renteria with 14 home runs. Ball and a strike. To pay attention to Langford, who's stolen only 3 bases this year. Cardinal steals are down. Vini has 9, Drew 9, Edmonds 10. Renteria leads the club with 17. But Langford only 3.
67 for the club.
Mears back to his right to force it second, and the inning is over. So that'll do it for the first 6, and the best defensive play in this game turned in right here in the 6th by Wilson and Mears. Still 3-0. 3-0 is the Cardinal lead. We go to the 7th inning. Ankiel back to the hill. Friday, September 1st. Good matchup. Cardinals and the Mets. And it is Bud Light can cooler night for the first 25,000 fans, 21 and over, with a paid admission. You receive a Cardinal can cooler, compliments of Bud Light. That is Friday, September 1st. Cards are back after their trip through Atlanta and Florida to take on the mighty Mets. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's Keith Osick facing Ankiel, and way late with that swing. Still has pretty good jump to the ball. As Ankiel, strike one.
I'd be very pleased with what we've seen from Ankiel tonight. Talked about it right before he got a jam shot to last out. He pitched well on both sides of the plate.
That's into left center field. It won't be caught because it's gone. A home run by Osick. It's 3-1.
You kind of predicted that earlier in the game, didn't you?
Every time. Keith Osick goes deep, only his third home run of the year, and that kills the shutout and immediately puts the Cardinal bullpen to work.
Hernandez set up outside, and ball was up out over the middle of the plate, but not, it's too much of the plate. He earned it by hitting his third home run into the left center field bleachers. Now Emil Brown will pinch hit.
You got Emil Brown and Adrian Brown now back-to-back in their lineup, and Ramos Ramirez and Alex Ramirez back-to-back, and Ankiel's reaction after that. Kind of a ho-hum reaction in what is now a 3-1 game. Seventh inning. Emil Brown takes strike two, 0-2. With the full knowledge that I'm about to place a jinx on this home plate umpire. He's had a good night behind the plate. The 0-2 is at the feet of Emil Brown. This Matt Hollowell has been consistent behind the plate.
Yeah, agree with that.
Good pitch from Ankiel, and strikeout number 6.
Joe, we've seen more of a complete pitcher from Ankiel tonight, more so than we've seen in quite a while. Pitching deep into a game, but he's had more consistency with his breaking ball tonight.
Adrian Brown. He's been a handful tonight, on base 3 times with a pair of singles and a walk. Strike one from Ankiel. Ankiel is due to bat second in the bottom of this 7th.
Sure, this will be his last inning of work. Timlin getting loose and ready. Rick's got to be at 100 pitches or thereabouts right now. We're getting through the 7th inning, and that's good enough.
1-1 with 1 out, 1 run home. Good pitch again, 1-2.
Good tight late breaking curveball.
Here's a 1-2 into right. See if Drew can get there. Slicing foul, and it stays fair and playable for Drew. Since they've reconfigured this stadium, it is a challenge for a left fielder or a right fielder to go anywhere near that line, and a ball that might jump foul or might stay fair by a few feet becomes treacherous with a full head of steam. But Drew is there in control, 2 out.
Yeah, he really ran hard to the spot and then pulled up, made the catch under control.
Boy, Ankiel gets a good fastball in for a strike to Enrique Wilson.
I think he's worn himself down enough to where he has command of the strike zone.
Yeah, and I would think that even if he doesn't get Wilson, with Brian Giles on deck, he's got another hitter after this guy. Wilson is hitless tonight with a sacrifice, 2 balls and a strike.
Slow down, Rick, slow down.
Into right field, a long run for Drew. Can he get there at the wall? It's gone. Opposite field, home run by Enrique Wilson, and it's a 1-run Cardinal lead. Boy, that ball went a long way. fastball up and out over the plate, and that's the second home run of the inning.
It's only the third of the year for Wilson. 2 of them right-handed, 1 left-handed. And boy, that's surprising that that ball went out of here, the opposite field, and reaches the second deck. Or reaches the seats, however you want to talk about it. Off the facade.
Now Giles, who's capable of doing that. Although 0 for 1 with a couple of walks against Ankiel, following a 360-foot home run off the bat of Wilson. And now Giles in the hole 0-2.
Shocked at Wilson's home run?
Yes.
0-2.
No breeze here tonight whatsoever. Breaking ball, goodness. Giles was at the mercy of the home plate umpire, and it's 1-2. Fastball is hammered foul. And Hernandez out in front of the plate for a little encouragement for Ankiel to try to get through this 7th. What does your hot zone look like when you're hitting .318 with 31 home runs?
That just shows you, Joe, that a lot of guys leave the ball out over the middle of the plate.
Well, Clark goes too far to his right, but Ankiel is there to make the play. Routine play for Vina. Clark went a little too far, but Ankiel was in the right spot. Pirates get 2 home runs in the inning. They trail by 1. It's time to stretch.
This National Sports Report Sports Break is brought to you by Nissan.
I'm Van Earl Wright with this sports break for the NSR. Former Panther running back Fred Lane's widow has been charged with her late husband's murder. And in the NBA, the New Jersey Nets signed the #1 overall draft pick Kenyon Martin to a 3-year deal. And don't miss Florida State's legendary leader Bobby Bowden on our open mic segment. That's tonight on the National Sports Report.
Bottom of the 7th inning, Cards bat. It's now a 1-run game. Pirates back to the field. They have a new pitcher, and we have college football for you again. It returns to Fox Sports Net. The Eddie Robinson Football Classic kicks off the 2000 college football season as Kansas State takes on Iowa. Kansas State in the top 10. Catch all the action Saturday at 1:30 only on Fox Sports Net. Well, what do you think? A 1-run lead going into the bottom of the 7th inning. The rest of the way for the Cardinals, it's going to be up to the bullpen, you would have to believe. Carlos Hernandez will lead it off, and with our Lowe's call to the bullpen for all your home improvement needs, call Lowe's Improving Home Improvement. It's the left-hander Wallace. He deals to Hernandez, and that's a tester for Mears to his left. A little juggle, but he recovers 1 out. And Dunston will bat for Ankiel. Well, Rick, 7 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, 2 home runs. 7 innings, 2 runs on 4 hits. He limited the walks, and he did everything you can ask for out of a starting pitcher.
I think he did his job. He got 7 innings. He gave his chance. Now he's still got the chance for the victory. And this is the best I've seen him pitch in quite a while. 112 pitches through 7 innings. That's fine.
I said 4 hits. 6 hits is the correct total. And now we wait for Dunston. Cardinals will bring Timlin in to pitch in the 8th. Dunston made the start here last night and was 2 out of 5. For the year, hitting .247. With a surprising 10 home runs and 39 RBIs. Dunston trying to get on in front of Vina. Ball 1. Cardinals have won 3 consecutive series. They won at Milwaukee. They won at Chicago. They won here against Philadelphia, taking 2 of 3 each time, and they're trying to do it to the Pirates. They're 6 outs away from that. 1-0 to Dunston. 2-0.
That's your goal. 2 out of 3. And no one will catch it.
Dunston with a count of 2-0. Are we thinking about riding one out of here? 3-0. Cincinnati leads at home in the 7th inning now over Philadelphia 3-1. After losing a 3-game set to these Pirates, they're trying to win a 3-game set over Philadelphia. She will sleep well this evening. 3 balls, no strikes. Dunston took ball 4, a 1-out walk. Will bat.
Wallace started the season in the minor leagues. He called on April 28th, and he went back to Nashville for a couple games. And he's been scored upon in 4 of his last 6 games for the Bucks.
A triple tonight for Vigna, his 5th of the year. 1 on, 1 out. Strike from Wallace.
I think we've ever seen a hot zone for Fernando Vigna.
But it exists.
There it is.
He's averaged at 304 through all those red and blue squares. They should make an extra row for Vigna over the inside part and just make it black and blue, because he leans into pitches, gets hit by pitches. It's happened 22 times this season. The 0-1 from Wallace. To the left of Wilson. Get the out at second and can't get the out at first.
Vigna, one of the toughest guys in the league to double up. And that was close. Wilson had to go to his left, and then he got a throw that allowed Dunston to get on top of the short side. So he goes to his left, and he has to spin and throw. That gets Dunston that much closer to the shortstop, and Mears does a nice job. He has to go up and over Dunston, and that takes a little off the throw, and probably the difference being safe.
Now Drew. Runner at first, 2 out, and ball 1 to Drew with Edmonds next. See if the Cardinals can make that 1-out walk to Dunston count for something. Cardinals lead 3-2, bottom of the 7th. Pirates in the 8th will have Young, Ramirez, and Ramirez. A 1-0. Vigna is about a 50-50 proposition in the stolen base department. He is 9 out of 16. Successful 9 times, caught 7 times. Into right field, Ramirez is there to put it away, and the inning is over. Drew hit it right on the button again, but right at Ramirez. We go to the 8th. Timlin will pitch for the Cardinals, who lead by 1. To you by Southwest Airlines, who brings freedom to the net with affordable fares and frequent flights. Log on for low fares. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of e-freedom. And by Auto Tire. We'll win you with great prices. We'll keep you with great service. Well, great service is what Rick Ankiel did for the Cardinals tonight. The 21-year-old was fantastic. 7 innings, 2 runs on 6 hits, struck out 6, walked 4. Threw a wild pitch in the process and allowed the 2 home runs last inning. And our Lowe's call to the bullpen. For all your home improvement needs, call Lowe's Improving Home Improvement. Here's Mike Timlin, who has helped to improve this Cardinal bullpen.
Will Clark shattered that window up in the press box level. I think that's a computer area.
And just to the right of that is where Ernie Hayes does his magic. That area we just showed you is the scoreboard.
You know, that has never been broken before. Either the glass is getting weaker, or he's just that much stronger. Hit it perfectly. Timlin is 2-0 since coming with the Cardinals. Overall 4-3, ERA at 4.56. Had 11 saves when he was with Baltimore. And there's a number since he's come over here. He had a little rough period of time, but kind of gave him a couple worry-free vacation appearances and kind of ride the ship. And the last time out was Sunday, and he was perfect through 2 innings.
Well, away we go. Kevin Young, Ramos Ramirez, and Alex Ramirez. Forget about that Vanderwall guy lurking on their bench. And with that, Jason Christensen is loosening for the Cards in the bullpen. Here's Kevin Young with 17 home runs, and he takes a ball. Timlin can look effortless in throwing a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Big, tall, strong right-hander. 1-0. Is ripped foul. Ball and a strike. Young tonight 0 for 2 with a pair of pop-ups and a walk. Again, the bullpen will try to save the 8th win of the year for Rick Ankiel, who is deserving of a win tonight. A 1-1 to Young. Forward in there for strike 2.
The one inside, let him pull it, and then go and paint the outside corner. 6 more outs.
Goodbye to Kevin Young. Hernandez saved it, throws on to first for the rest of the strikeout. The strikeout, the put out 2-3, and 1 away here in the 8th, and a big threat is gone. Good start for Timlin. Ramos Ramirez is at the plate 0 for 3. Ramirez for the year, 6 home runs, 35 RBIs, facing Timlin, and late with that swing. Bartow giving us the official National League attendance. 21,288 paid to see it. Must be a few freebies in here because it looks bigger than that.
Wow, they give away hundreds of thousands of tickets to good charitable organizations, the elementary school program, and the only time they can redeem those is Monday through Thursday. The weekends are virtually all sold out. Cardinals are just having a phenomenal year at the turnstiles.
The 0-1 to Ramirez is low and away.
Cardinals have drawn a major league best 2.61 million fans coming in tonight's action in their 63 home games, an average of 41,501, and combined nearly 4,800,000 at home and on the road, also tops in the big leagues. Two balls and a strike as Timlin falls behind.
1 out, nobody on in the 8th, and that riding up and in for strike 2. They're in the 8th inning with the Reds leading at home over Philadelphia 3-1. So the Cardinals may have to win here tonight to stay 7.5 games up, with those 4 games looming in Atlanta. But the Reds will follow the Cardinals into Atlanta and play 4 games against the Braves as well. That's down the right field line, slicing into the corner, trouble. Drew on the run. This ball is fair and rattles around in the corner. Ramirez will end up at third base. The tying run 90 feet away for Pittsburgh.
Ball has to be flying into the right field area. Home run by Wilson. Now this one. This kid's much stronger than Wilson, but
Drew missed it, and that ball missed getting out of here by about 4 feet.
Missed it. Karen by him. He had a long run into the corner. And you mentioned it last inning how treacherous it is with a new configuration into the corner. It's like Vanderwall, E. Lumen. There was somebody's. It's not. Yeah, that's Vanderwall.
He'll bat for Alex Ramirez, and we'll see if the Cardinals go to Christensen.
You know what? I wouldn't be take gutsy move, but Vanderwall is so good. I don't know if I wouldn't mind walking him.
Take your chances with Timlin against Mears.
This guy, one of the absolute best pinch hitters. He is hitless in his last 5 pinch hit at bats, but he's currently 7th on the all-time pinch hit list with 115. It was Christensen, the former Cardinal, former Pirate reliever.
So Timlin is finished after 1/3 of an inning. Before we go to the break, we'll show you that replay and where this ball hits. Just beyond Drew's outstretched glove and just below the 0 in 330.
If you see his momentum carries him, you know, there's only another yard or so before you hit the wall to the stands. And he had a long run into that corner. That's tough to defense a right-handed batter that way.
So we'll take a break, and when we come back, Vanderwall will be taking on Chris Lead here in the top of the 8th inning. A triple just chased Mike Timlin. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Baseball Thursday, right here on Fox Sports Net. The Cardinals and Braves, first of a 4-game set. 6:30 on Fox Sports Net. Should be a fun series, and as we've said a couple of times, quite possibly a playoff preview. So as it is here, the infield will creep in. Tying run at third with 1 out, and Jason Christensen, the former Pirate, who has some big numbers in that ERA category, will take on one of the game's best pinch hitters, John Vanderwall.
He struggled since wearing the Cardinal uniform, but he has a good arm. I've talked to Gene Lamont, the manager of Pirates, and he gave him a big vote of confidence. There you see he could throw a fastball by people. He's got a tight slider. This is one of the absolute best pinch hitters. 115 pinch hits. I've seen him hit a few home runs in that role too.
Last night homered. He was in the starting lineup for the Pirates. The 0-1. There's a good pitch. 0-2. And that hasn't been the problem for Christensen. He hasn't had a tough time getting ahead of hitters. It's been putting guys away.
And Joe, part of it I think is trying to do a little too much, trying to pressure teammates. Coming over here in the pennant race, and gets 0-2, and then he tries to say, I'm going to throw a wicked slider in, and kind of left it in a very bad spot.
Wasted low and away, 1-2.
See, that is an effective one. But when you leave it in the middle half and you kind of choke the ball, and then it doesn't come out with ease or the fluidity, it just sort of hangs right there.
Here's a 1-2. Vanderwall strikes out. What a job by Christensen. He does his job for the night. A big strikeout of one of the game's best with a tying run at third. 1 out at the time.
Now here's where you throw the breaking ball and you let it happen instead of trying to force things. So that is what he did. Also, Gene Lamont told me, and they're going to make a pitching change, but Gene Lamont told me that he didn't consider him just to be a left-handed specialist. He said he had great confidence in him retiring right-handed batters also.
Well, Jason has done his job tonight. Great work. And it is Dave Veer's time here tonight. He walks in from the bullpen. It's his job to try to keep that tying run from scoring. Good work and a smile from Jason Christensen. One of the few times he's been able to do that since putting on the Cardinal uniform. Good work to get a big strikeout. Now we'll see if Veers can finish off the top of the 8th. Runner at third, 2 out now. It'll be either Mears or someone else They have Morris swinging a bat. He'll take on Veers when we come back. Enter the AutoZone Sweet Deal Sweepstakes. Stop by any St. Louis area AutoZone store. Enter to win 4 tickets to the best seat in the house. The broadcast suite here at Busch Stadium. It's your chance to have the Cardinals experience of a lifetime. Stop by an AutoZone store today and enter.
A seat in the house, nobody's sitting. One.
Another thing they ought to put in the promo is air conditioning.
Yes.
There are nights when that double window there is open. Tonight's not one of those nights, and Dave Veers will try to close the window on the top of this 8th inning. 21 saves and 26 chances on the year for Dave Veers.
Joe, you and I both thought about it with the pinch hitter Morris, a left-handed batter. It really plays into the hands. I like Dave Veers' chances better with a left-handed batter than a right-handed, and he's pretty good against each.
Runner at third, 2 out. Warren Morris could tie it with a hit. Don't forget about that splitter in the dirt. Ball 1 from Veers. On deck is Osick. Saves on the season, first year as a Cardinal. Wouldn't chase it, it's 2-0. Morris batting for Mears, who is 0 for 3. Warren hitting .247, 3 homers, 25 RBIs. Tying run 90 feet away. Whoa! And a save by Hernandez to keep it 3-2 here in the 8th.
You have to be able to block the ball, and of course you throw that split finger, sometimes you don't really know where it's going. But great technique there, and it's like a hockey goalie.
With the hockey goalie mask.
Hockey goalie mask.
Now with a runner at third, 2 out, a 3-0 count on Warren Morris.
Fastball, and Morris is probably looking back.
And it's wasted, or it got away. Either way, it's a 2-out walk to put the go-ahead run on. First and third, 2 out for Osick, who's already homered tonight.
Joe, sometimes you're better off, even though it's a go-ahead run. You fall behind 3-0 and you get into a predictable situation. Sometimes with 2 outs, it's a lot easier to start with a new batter fresh.
Osick, a chance to come up with another key hit for the Pirates. First and third, 2 out. Cards up by a run, and strike 1 from Veers.
Get that new life with a new hitter, and you just go right after him and you jump out ahead of him, and it makes it totally different.
Well, let's see what the 0-1 pitch brings from Dave Veers. Runners at the corners, 2 out. Time called at the plate by Osick, who homered his last time up, 1 out of 3 and hitting .291.
Oh, Joe, Philadelphia is still batting, picked up 3, and they lead Cincinnati 4-3.
In the 8th. Here comes the 0-1 pitch here in the 8th. Ball and a strike. Cards will have the heart of their order bat in the bottom of this 8th inning. Here's a 1-1. 2-1. Veers wanted that pitch, didn't get it. Now, if you don't get Osick, you get their other catcher, a guy by the name of Kendall. And it also guarantees that you face Giles again.
Yeah, work on this hitter.
2 balls and a strike, first and third, 2 out. And a pop-up. That should do it. Renneria back behind his position, and the top of the 8th inning is history. Good work by the Cardinal bullpen. Ankiel applauding the efforts of Timlin, Christensen, and Veers. Bottom of the 8th inning, heart of the order coming up, still 3-2 Cardinals. There's a reaction of Rick Ankiel on that pop-up to end the top of the 8th inning. Nothing overwhelming, but he has to feel happy with the job that Timlin, Christensen, and Veers just turned in. And now as the Cardinals bat in the bottom of the 8th, it sure would take a lot of the pressure off if against Sauerbeck, who shut down the Cardinals last night. The Cardinals, with a heart of their lineup, Edmonds, Clark, and Tatis, can get another run or two.
Yeah, this kid was a Rule 5 draftee for the Mets, Sauerbeck, and he handled Edmonds and the Cardinals last night in fine fashion. Appeared 58 times. Last year, I think it was 65 games with a 2-point ERA. That's not a bad Rule 5 pick, is it?
No. As we mentioned last night, he was so good. 2 innings, shutout ball, setting up the 9th inning for Mike Williams, who got the final 3 outs. A 6-2 Pirate win. Here it's 3-2 Cardinals, bottom of the 8th. And Edmonds is flying one to center for Adrian Brown. Didn't get all of it. 1 pitch, 1 out. And Edmonds 1 out of 4 on the night. That'll bring in Will Clark, who's 2 out of 3.
Morris stays in the game to play second base, and second baseman Enrique Wilson moves to shortstop. Mears is out of this game.
Vanderwall stays in the game to play right. The pitcher still batting in the number 9 spot, which means he'll have a pinch hitter lead off, probably Kendall. In the 9th, Will Clark takes the ball. Clark, a double, a run scored, a single, and then was erased in the double play, hit into by Tatis, who's on deck. 1 out, nobody on. Cards up by a run. 2 balls, no strikes on Clark.
Joe, I think Kendall would have to pinch hit because I know Benjamin, the first couple games, has been out of the lineup or not available due to back spasms.
Late scratch in last night's game. 2 balls and a strike on Clark. Gonna look at that score. 4-3 Philadelphia. They're in the 9th inning there. Bottom of the 8th inning here, and the Cardinals are batting up by a run. They are about to determine whether their flight down to Atlanta after the game tonight will be happy or sad. 2-1. 3 balls and a strike. Rich Loisel, a right-hander, getting ready for the Pirates out in their bullpen. Down the left field line, that ball's carrying a long way. Giles in the corner. It is a fair ball and gone. Home run, Will Clark, and the Cardinals lead 4-2. Opposite field blast that just got out, just stayed fair, and the Cardinals have a 2-run lead.
Here's some credit to the third base umpire. He was charging down that line to get a look at it because this is a tough one into the corner. Ramirez hit one in the right field corner. Now a left-handed batter, Clark, hits this one into the left field corner. And there's Giles going up for it. Check the yellow line.
It is gone, boy.
Yeah. It went off the foul pole, right above the yellow line of the foul pole. And look where the umpire was. He was way down the line. He was beyond that corner where the Southwest Airlines sign is. So
Dan Iasonia, he missed a couple of calls here 2 nights ago at first. He had a good night behind the plate last night. And that's as good a job as we've seen all year as Tatis lines a base hit into left. It's as good a job as we've seen all year of an umpire hustling down the line and then making a definitive call. First he called it fair, then he called it a home run, and he got it right.
So there it is, and look at that. But look at how far down the line he is. And explaining to Giles, but that's a great job. That's good hustle right there. Nice going, Dan.
Now Langford bats after the 1-out hit by Tatis.
Youngster Matt Hollowell behind the plate has done a real good job tonight.
Langford's hit by a pitch, and it's 2 on with 1 out.
A breaking ball right there. So wheels coming off the Sauerbeck.
That's probably it for him. Renteria will walk in, and Loisel steps up his pace trying to get ready out in the Pirate bullpen.
Whether their phones were working or not, they had to get hand signals to see if Loisel was ready. They got the affirmative, and now there'll be a pitch change.
So after Wallace went a scoreless inning with a walk, Sauerbeck is KO'd here as he can only pick up 1 out in the 8th. An opposite field home run by Will Clark, his 5th as a Cardinal. Batista hit, Langford hit by a pitch, and Sauerbeck, who was so good last night, leaves here tonight. The Cardinals lead by 2 and have 2 on, only 1 out, and Renteria coming up. Bottom of the 8th inning, Cards have added a run to their total, lead by 2, have a chance for more. Coming up tonight, it's the 11 p.m. Regional Sports Report. 30 minutes of nightly sports news completely dedicated to the home team throughout the Midwest. Cards and Braves, a series preview, 4-game set coming up. Reds highlights. Rams are in Dallas for their Thursday night game, their final preseason tune-up. 2 on, 1 out here in Loisel. Ah, very ominous, looming over the crowd in right center field. Here comes Renteria with 2 on, 1 out.
Loisel was the closer for the Pirates in '97, '98. Had elbow surgery last year. Went on the disabled list with.
The opposite way for a hit. Here comes Tatis. The left-handed throwing Vanderwall has no chance. Not only does Tatis score, but first to third is Langford, and it's 5-2 in the 8th.
So often we see players swing for the fences. This is a good piece of hitting right here. Going with the pitch, finding a hole on the right side. Gets his 59th RBI for Renteria, and runners at the corners, and still only 1 out. I might have to see Dave Beers hit.
He's on deck. Theoretically. Throwing first. Beers right now is asking guys what their hat size is in the dugout to see if he can find a helmet that fits him. And he's asking guys, hey, you guys, anybody have a bat they don't want? I have to go hit here.
Don't mind if I break it. Don't pick marks.
First and third, 1 out. Here's where you have to get that extra RBI, in other words, out of Hernandez.
Loisel been scored upon in 4 of his last 6 games with the Bucks. That was one of the other guys here, but Loisel has had a 7.20 ERA in 7 games since returning. Began the DL recovering from right elbow surgery, and then he was on with bursitis in his right shoulder.
Pop up, that's a killer. That takes a run off the board as Hernandez misses the RBI chance, and it's going to be up to Beers. 0 for 4 night for Carlos Hernandez. Here comes Dave Beers.
This will be the first plate appearance for Beers of the year.
Helmet or not? What numbers on the top of that helmet? 20 at bats. He's hitting 300 with an RBI. It's Garrett Stevenson's helmet. There aren't a lot of hits in that helmet either. Pitch up and in.
Last time Garrett helped himself again.
That's right. So Stevenson's helmet is here. He's there in spirit. 1 ball, no strikes on Beers. First and third, 2 out. 1-1 from Loisel. Beers takes strike 2. And home run by Clark, which was the first of 2 runs in this inning. Landed literally 10 feet away from where McGuire's 62nd home run landed in 1998. Here's got a piece of it to draw a nice reaction from these very knowledgeable fans here in St. Louis.
Oh, he's baiting him. He wanted to get 2 strikes, make him look like he's a feeble hitter. Now he's going to stroke one.
Getting cat calls from the dugout and elsewhere. See if he can do something on 1 and 2. First and third, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pierce hits it into left field. Well hit. Giles back to make the catch. Woo! Giles was so shallow that a ball that went about 360 into left field is caught over the shoulder by Giles. From a homer to a hug to a 3-run lead into the 9th. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Net was brought to you by Bud Light. The great taste that won't fill you up but never let you down. Make it a Bud Light. Well, the Cardinals now lead by 3 to equal their biggest lead of the night, 5-2, as the game goes into the 9th inning. They're into the bottom of the 9th inning at Cincinnati with the Phillies leading the Reds 4-3. So what will it be? Could be anything from a 6.5 to a 7.5 to an 8.5 game lead at the end of the night. We talked about earlier that the Cardinals have the largest divisional lead in all of baseball right now. That means that the American League Central, which I haven't checked in a while, is tightening up a bit as Cleveland is now 7 out behind the White Sox.
And Joe, it's a matchup of Cleveland and Oakland. Cleveland wins again, so they're leading in the wild card race in the American League. Boston, who is leading Anaheim 1-0 after 1.5 innings of play, they came in trailing Cleveland by half a game. Cleveland beats Oakland, so they're a game and a half back behind the Cleveland Indians. And Boston now is 1.
Here's Jason Kendall pinch hitting for Loisel. Couple of runs scored against Sauerbeck. And the first from Fears is in for a strike, knee high to Jason Kendall, hitting .321. Kendall 2 out of 9 in this series, which includes a single and a 2-run homer.
A couple insurance runs sure make it a lot nicer, though, doesn't it?
2 big runs in the bottom of the 8th. The 0-1 from Fears. On the outside corner, 0-2. Adrian Brown will follow, then Enrique Wilson, and if you're Veers, there's motivation to end it there with Giles, the 4th scheduled hitter in this inning. The 0-2. 1-2.
I'll tell you what, Dave Veers was going to make sure that there was no way someone was going to hit that fastball. He has that much confidence in his split finger.
You want a wasted pitch?
Yeah.
Here's a wasted pitch.
Well, you know, that's better than missing your spot and getting hurt by it. And you just hope that Kendall, with his pretty good speed for a catcher, doesn't swing at it and end up at first base on a strikeout.
What do they go with?
Splitter.
On 1 and 2. And it's ripped foul. That was up. So it'll be Kendall, Adrian Brown, and Enrique Wilson. And if we get a final on that game in Cincinnati, we'll pass it on. Cardinals trying to win this series. Rubber game of the set. Kendall's gone. Good start. Struck him out to begin the 9th.
that's got a little more of the plate than what Dave Veers wanted to have happen. He's ahead in the count, so he can hit spots. Wanted it away, and look where this one is, right down the middle. And Kendall couldn't catch up to it.
So now Adrian Brown, who's been on base 3 times tonight with a pair of singles and a walk. Also fly to right the only time Ankiel retired him. Rick Ankiel is in line for his 8th win of the year if the Cards can hang on. A ball to Adrian Brown. The 2 young umpires, Dan Iasonia and Matt Hollowell, have had strong nights here tonight. Hollowell behind the plate, Iasonia over at third on that home run by Clark. 2-0 on Brown.
Well, I was here the youngsters, but the veterans, Mark Hirschbeck is the crew chief, and then Wally Bell over at first base. I was in talk with them, and boy, were they talking bad about Davy Phillips. Oh, were they talking about Davy.
3-0 on Adrian Brown.
Davy won't even come visit his former mates. Former American League umpire, still out after recovering from back surgery. Tongue-in-cheek, they were talking bad about it. Don't worry, Davey. They made me so mad I was about ready to get in a brawl with the umpire.
There's a 3-ball, 1-strike count on Adrian Brown. Davy Phillips, not to be confused with Richie Phillips in any way. Here comes a 3-1 to Brown with 1 out, nobody on. It's strike 2. Come back, Adrian. Yo, Adrian. Come back. It's a 4 count.
I asked Wally Bell about one of the umpires, but one of the guys that lost their job, one of the 22, and he said, well, he don't like us anymore. Meaning as if he's mad at all the umpires for not losing their jobs too.
What a good pickup by Renteria. That was smashed to him. 2 up, 2 down. And the Cardinals are 1 out away from their 70th win of the season.
Joe, if you square up to a ball, and this ball is hit hard, but look at him stay down, then you can come up with the ball. Don't play balls off to the side. You can make a lot of great plays. That's a tough play right there, but he shows you how good he is.
So now Enrique Wilson is at the plate, and even with Giles on deck, he can't tie you. If Enrique Wilson should reach, Wilson is 1 for 3 tonight with a home run. First pitch swinging, strike 1. Veers is in search of his 22nd save in 27 chances.
It's a team effort here today.
And the bullpen backing up a terrific start by Rick Ankiel. And then some timely hitting by the Cardinals. Hopefully will combine for a victory. 1 ball, 1 strike on Wilson. And the Cards will head to Atlanta with no worse than a 7.5 game lead.
Don't forget Timlin got a big strikeout. Christensen the biggest strikeout.
To the first base side and past Will Clark. And Enrique Wilson is on base for the 3rd time tonight. And it's 1 on, 2 out with Giles coming up. Here is that play, Al, the Bud Light play of the game. The Christensen strikeout of Vanderwall with a runner at third, 1 out. Tying run in the top of the 8th inning. Nasty pitch down and away, and that's brought to you by Bud Light, the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
And Dave Veers follows Christensen, and he'll have to get 1 more out. It'll be 4 outs to pick up his 22nd save.
First to Giles with 2 out. Ball 1.
And look at that, the baseball.
Runner at first, 2 out. They play behind the runner. Giles takes strike 1. Ryan has homered in each of the first 2 games of this series. Tonight 0 for 2 with a pair of walks, and Ankiel handled him very well tonight. Ankiel pitched around him when he had the chance to. When he had to come after him, he struck him out, made him look bad in the 5th, and got him on a ground ball to the right side in the 7th.
Veers knows his bread and butter is the splitter.
Gets it in for strike 2, 2-2.
Sure, he wanted to leave that ball there, but he got a called strike.
This crowd to its feet. 21,288 paid to watch this one. It's been a good game to this point. 2-2 pitch from Veers. Should end it. Vigna. Game over. Cardinals win another series. Their 4th in a row. They beat the Pirates 5-2 here tonight. From Ankiel to Timlin to Christensen to Veers, hitting up and down the lineup. Cards won it.